Hello again. Let's talk about the module 5 of this chapter 1. And in this module, we're going to be talking about the funding options that are available to grad students. And I want to warn you that most of this funding are mainly available to graduate students that are applying to schools in the United States and a few in Canada. I'm not sure of the European countries. These fundings are divided into two major categories. We have the major funding and we have the minor funding sources. Right. And I will talk about these major fundings, what you would do if you have these fundings, and what do these funding cover, like the benefit of these major fundings and the minor fundings. I've classified these fundings, major fundings, into four. We have the graduate teaching assistant, GTA. We have the graduate research assistant, GRA. We have the graduate assistant, GA. Then we have other major fundings like the fellowship. Now, what does the GTA cover? The GTA, which is also the graduate teaching assistant. So most times when you open the website of this school, they'll tell you graduate teaching assistants or GRAs. The GTA mainly is to help to support department teaching force. How do I mean? So when professors teach courses, they need graduate students to help grade these courses. And what I mean by these courses, I'm talking about undergraduate courses. Think about it this way: you're doing your master's or PhD, and you're working with a professor, or there's a professor in the department that is teaching undergraduate course, right? They need graduate students who are doing masters or PhD to help grade their courses because they need time for themselves to do research and other things. They can teach, but they need grad students to help grade these courses, right? And that is where you come in. So as a GTA, you're going to help them to grade, and sometimes you might help them to cover some courses. They may assign some syllabus, part of the work for you to teach, right? Maybe to lead the discussion section. So you'll be able to handle this at this time. The GRA is quite different. For the GRA, professors are usually given grants, right? They have this funding for their research. So when they recruit you as a graduate student, you are going to help with your research, right? They give you some tasks, go do this task, and then you get it done. Sometimes you can help with the lab, setting up the lab, and other functions. The third category of major funding is the graduate assistant. The GA, which is graduate assistant, varies in terms of your task that you're going to be assigned, right? You may be asked to help with maybe supervise some undergraduate student. You may be asked to help with office duties. You may be given any other tasks to do, maybe to review literature or whatever it is. So the GA is specific. Sometimes you may be like an office assistant, right? And then we have the fourth one, which is fellowship. For fellowship, you're not given any task. You're only asked to focus on your research, right? So you keep doing your research for your master's or PhD, and the outcome of your research will be presented. And that is exactly what you do as fellowship. So you have the time for yourself to focus on your research. Whereas when you were GTA or GRA, you're going to be doing this research for these professors or helping them to teach, and then you also have to focus on your research. So you have like more like dual tasks to do. But as for fellowship, you have more time for yourself and your research. Now, when you have major fundings, the major funding help to cover your tuitions. So what do I mean? When you are admitted as a master's or PhD student and then you are given GTA, GRA, or GA, or even a fellowship, right? It covers the entirety of your tuition, also called tuition waiver. It means the department is going to pay your tuition. You don't have to pay anything anymore. And then the fees, most time the department is going to cover the fee. But there are instances where the department cover half of the fee, you also cover half of the fee. The tuition and the fees are not the same. The tuition is the bulk money. The fees are meant like cost for technology, for campus fee, maybe for international student fees. Those are where the fees come in. They are very it's not a large amount of money. It's something that you should be able to pay without having to feel the impact. The third benefit of this major funding is insurance, right? So most schools can give you 100% insurance. It means the school is going to pay all your insurance. But some schools will give you 75%. It means if your insurance is $1,000, the department is going to pay 75%, while you're going to pay the remaining 25%, right? So it varies. And then we have the monthly salary or stipend. So at the end of the month or every 2 weeks, bi-weekly, you're going to receive like a salary, right? So that's where you have money to pay your cost of living. You pay your rent, you pay your cost of your feeding, you can buy your car, you can take care of your car expenses like your gas. So that's where the money comes from. We have other benefits, right? Being a GA or GTA or any of these major assistantship, right? You can have benefit like you have access to libraries, copying machine, some facilities in the university. You're going to have access, like maybe like the gym or the rec centers, wherever it is, you have access. Then we talk about the minor funding. The minor fundings are minor in the sense that they don't cover a lot, right? We have range from scholarships, which cover financial support. Just this department can give you like a scholarship of $1,000. So it doesn't mean that they're paying your tuition or fee. It just means that money is going to be going to your tuition. If your tuition is $20,000, by the time the scholarship is applied, you still have $19,000 to pay, right? So that's why we say it just helps to offset your fees. And then we have other funds like grants. So usually when you are a grad student, you have access to, if you want to go for conferences, your department is going to cover it. They're going to give you some fund. Your travel, they're going to pay for your trip to travel around the US for your conference. Your research, if you want to travel out of the US, you want to go do research in your country, right? So this fund is available. Also, you want to go do a presentation, right? So, or workshop. So you have grants to cover that. All right, we have other funding that can come. Sometimes we have funding from school, we have from the state or for the federal government, right? Sometimes we have some fund that comes in. Like I said, some of these minor funding benefits are not elaborate. They're not as much as compared to those of major funding, right? Right, just to help you offset certain bills, and then tuition fees may not be paid. So those are some of the benefit there. But you want to go for this major funding, so you want to position your application in a way that you are going to be seeking either a GTA, a GRA, or GA, or even the fellowship, right? And I'm going to teach you how you can get all this. It boils down into preparing a well-detailed application in terms of having a good statement of purpose, where your resume is there, and also indicating interest in this. I hope this is very helpful in terms of funding options available, and I hope you're able to understand the different funding sources. So when you see people talk about, oh, they're going getting scholarship, you want to be careful. You want to ask them what kind of funding are you having, not scholarship, right? So because scholarship can be a very little amount of money. Ask them what kind of funding do you have from me, as the professors, as the university. Is it GTA? Is it GRA? Is it GA? Right? How am I going to be funded? Does this funding cover my tuition fees? You want to make sure that this funding cover your tuition fees. The reason is because you don't want to pay millions of dollars. You don't want to pay millions of naira, rather. You don't want to pay $30,000. You want to pay $40,000 because you want to go to school for a year, right? You want to be able to make sure that these universities, they can fund it. And I'll tell you, most universities have the fund for you, but you need to be qualified for it. You need to set out a strong application so you can be considered. And that's why I'm here. I'll see you on the next one.